Okay, so we're now recording. So thank you for joining us for our weekly Ask Us webinar. Today is the 13th of February, and hopefully you're now looking at the Cloud Business Blueprint slideshow here. So what we do after some feedback from our last webinar is what we'll cover is some news first off, and what we probably need to let you know is that we've released our our 10th podcast. We're now into double figures. So let me just bring that up and show you. So again, that podcast focused on profitability and business growth. So obviously you can listen to it here directly on the website. You can download it and watch it when you need to, listen to it when you need to, or you can subscribe to it in iTunes as well. So that's also available, also along with all the other podcasts, which you can access by simply going up to the top here and selecting podcast, and we do those on a regular basis. So appreciate your feedback. Have a listen, let us know what's good, what's bad, what you'd like to hear. It always helps us to improve. Now, the other thing was that we now have in Australia some Office 365 breakfast sessions. So what you can do again is you can register for those by going to this website, so www.ed-marketing.com/get-smart/365.html. You'll notice that what we've got down the bottom here is we have sessions available in all capital cities, so Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, Sydney and Brisbane. The aim is that we'll be organising an ad hoc meetup for everybody, probably the day before all of these events. So again, go in there and register, and if you remember, go to the forums and let us know, and we'll post all the details in the forums for you to get access to. The other thing that was just announced, which is very interesting, is the Office 365 multi-factor authentication. So what this means now is for M's and E plans out of the box, you will get the ability to do multi-factor authentication. So the blog post is here, but if we scroll down, you'll find that if you go into your active users in your admin center, you'll see that you can set up multi-factor authentication. And you can set it up per user, so you can force it for some users and disable it for others. And if you go down here, you can see that there are a number of different options for second factor. So you can use your mobile phone. You can make it call you, text you, call your office phone through an app, and a one-time code in an app. So that's a pretty powerful option to add straight off the bat. I don't know, for example, if Google or some other companies do it, but certainly a big plus for Office 365. If we go into My Office 365 tenant and we have a look at users and groups, you'll see that it's already in there, enabled, ready to go. So you'll see multi-factor authentication is already up and running. So if you've got an M or an E tenant, you should have that available as well. Now, the other thing that I will note here, which I didn't put in the news, is if you have a look at the services here, you'll notice, see how we now got Power BI for Office 365? So now if you've got an E plan, you will get Power BI built in for Office 365 out of the box, which allows you to work with big data and produce some really amazing results. So that's something else to have a look at when you get a chance. Now, we had a bit of a discussion about the Office 365 portal in Australia. It was listed in a blog post from Microsoft. That blog post is over here, the Australian Partner blog. If we scroll down, we see that it says the Microsoft Online Portal. In this scenario, Office 365 is purchased via the Microsoft Online Portal. This option is subscription-based with a choice of monthly or annual billing. Microsoft resellers will be simply able to add their partner of record to the customer account. Now, that seemed a bit confusing to me, and some of the others we weren't quite sure what it meant, but I have had indeed confirmation from Microsoft that they will be offering this portal direct to resellers. So you can now buy via Open, you can now buy via the Microsoft portal, you can buy retail, typically for the small business license, and you'll be able to buy via the T Suite portal. Where that leaves Telstra and all of this is a very good question, which we will have to wait and see. We'll need some more details on the pricing on exactly what this portal is, how it works, what the costs are, and so forth. But again, a very positive, I think, option for resellers in Australia. And the last thing that I'll mention here in the news is our meetup. So we have a monthly meetup that is scheduled for Monday, the 17th, so this coming Monday, 6:30 p.m. at the Oaks Hotel in Neutral Bay. Again, just send us an email to info@cloudbusinessblueprint.com so that we can reserve a place for you and know that you're coming on board. So that's sort of all the news that I've got. Nigel, have you got anything else that sort of grabbed your attention?
A couple of slides. One of the news items that you had in there was Express Data Roadshow. And interesting news this week is that they've just been purchased by Dicker Data.
Yeah, very interesting.
Turns Dicker Data into the third billion-dollar disty in Australia now, along with Synex and Ingram. Which show there's a bit of consolidation happening even in the disty end of the market.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the big thing. It's obviously showing the consolidation of all the suppliers. You obviously don't make money in IT these days unless you get big. That'll be interesting to see how that pans out and how that works together. I mean, Dicker Data, in your experience, has generally been a very good business to work with?
The best distributor we've dealt with by far. We put as much as we possibly can through them.
Now, do they do software as well, or is it all hardware?
They do a lot of software now. They do volume licensing from Microsoft. That's the only company we've been using for a few years for volume licensing.
Okay, so that's cool. Well,
now this will give them a much wider berth in Cisco and all of those other areas.
Okay, well there you go. So yeah, that was big news. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out and how long that takes to unfold. But yeah, time will tell on that. Anything else sort of grab you?
The only other one was with that two-factor authentication, which is going to be very interesting, is that later on this year they're releasing the updates for all the desktop applications as well.
Yeah. So again, I don't know how well that'll work. We go down the bottom here, and it's got the roadmap, and you'll see that. So it's going to second-factor authentication for Office, Link, Word, Excel, and SkyDrive Pro. So I don't know how effective that's going to be. I mean, can you see users coping with two factors on their Outlook on their desktop? Maybe not.
If it's easy, then potentially. And I think this is probably more in bring your own device or whatnot scenarios, or you're using a machine from outside the corporate network. I think that might be, and if they come up with some sort of policies where they can control that, that might be where.
Well, it might be. It was interesting. Someone raised the point that maybe it would be good if you could set it by IP address too. So you could say, well, if they're from this IP address, then they don't need a two-factor. But if they're anywhere else, then they do need two-factor authentication. So
okay,
that might be an option. Initially, it won't be, but yeah, multi-factor I think is certainly a great option and relatively easy to use. But on desktop applications, I don't know if I'd be enabling it, but it's certainly there if you want to use it, I suppose.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Certainly will be. All right, so do we have any questions of particular interest from the audience? We've sort of covered our brief intro of news and bits and pieces and what's grabbed us of late. There are some questions.
What's the pressing questions? You can put them in the chat panel, or I think you can raise your hand in this version now, so that we can turn the microphones on as well.
You can turn the microphones on if you want to. They can do that themselves generally, I think. I can't see any questions in here, but one of the questions that was asked in the forum was around a customer looking to go to an M or an E plan. So, for example, if we go to office365.com.au and we have a look at the pricing of the E's and the M plans, you'll see that there are some differences, obviously. The M plan includes what you would think everything you would need, but it is significantly cheaper. So the M plan includes Exchange Online Plan 1, SharePoint Online Plan 1, Link Plan 1. So if we go and compare the plans here, what we'll see is that the M plan is about, so the mid-sized business plan here, you do get the desktop software, you do get the email, SharePoint, Link, all that sort of stuff, and it's only $16.50. If you go up to the E plan, so you need the E3 obviously to get Office, it's a jump up to $33. So we're looking at a change from $16.50 for a mid-size to sort of equivalency with an Enterprise E3 of $33. So it's basically double the price. Now, My comment on that is firstly that in an environment where you can't move from an M to an E, so that's currently the case in Australia, you can't easily migrate from a P to an M to an E. I think you need to be careful with the M because there are limitations. Okay, so the first limitation is that the M plan, being a Exchange Online Plan 1, means that you have a limit of 50 gigabytes in your mailbox. You don't have e-discovery, you don't have legal hold, you basically don't have all the advanced features of Exchange. Now, the enterprise feature, the enterprise version here, the E3, basically has unlimited mailboxes, legal hold, e-discovery, all the goodies baked into the Exchange. The other difference here is that the mid-sized business also only gives you basic SharePoint, so SharePoint Online Plan 1. Plan 1 doesn't include things like Excel services, Power BI, some of the advanced search, form services, those sort of things. And that's
what are some of the things you can do with the Excel services, for example, Rob?
Well, the Excel services allow you to embed a spreadsheet effectively into a web page and allow you to edit it and work on it. So it's different from Office Web Apps. So Office Web Apps came after Excel services. So Excel services has a lot more power in the fact that you can embed it as a web part. So you can go into your website, embed an Excel spreadsheet as a widget into your SharePoint page, whereas in Office Web Apps you open the whole spreadsheet in its own page. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. So for example, let's see if I can bring it up here. So if I go to one of my sites, so again, you save a spreadsheet up somewhere, and then what you can do is you can reference it directly in SharePoint without having to go into Office Web Apps. So that's what Excel services is. It's a very handy way in a lot of cases to do things where you just need people to enter information into a spreadsheet-like format and do calculations. So that's where it is very, very handy. So if I go in here and
potentially with sharing maybe some external figures with people as well.
Well, if you just want to, for example, create a portal.
APIs or something.
Yeah, so someone could update a spreadsheet in SharePoint, and that could then be pushed out, through your extranet. So if we go into Insert here, and I'm in Chrome, so I might have to refresh this. Then you can then obviously update the spreadsheet and push it out via just an ordinary, read-only web page, so that people can see stuff in a spreadsheet format without having to make changes.
Could be good for something like investors.
Yeah, it could be even stock items.
For a business,
yeah, even to-do lists. I mean, it's a simple way of people using spreadsheets day to day. So if we go in here, I think it's in Business Data, and see how you've got Excel Web Access.
Yes.
And you've also got Visio's Web Access as well. So again, you can have all that sort of, that's the advantage with the SharePoint Online Plan 2. You get all these goodies that you don't get in Plan 1. Now, for most customers, that's going to be fine, but you need to check with your customer before you obviously settle on an M plan. Now, hopefully in Australia, once the Microsoft portal becomes available, plans that you buy in M will be able to be upgraded to E's under the Microsoft environment. Not so sure about the Telstra. I believe it will be coming, but no date on that. So settling on an M plan to start off with, once that is confirmed that you can upgrade, will not be such an issue. But at this stage of the game, you need to make sure that the M plan will fit your needs, because there's not a lot of options to upgrade that if you want. So that's basically the nuts and bolts of it. So again, pick your plan very carefully, make sure you understand the limitations. To me, my experience has been is I prefer generally to sell the E plan. So even if you start with E1 and you can upgrade to an E3, it gives you more flexibility, allows you to upgrade and downgrade as needed without penalty. It's a little bit more expensive, but I think it's a better option. But in a world where upgrades are possible, I think the M plan is certainly a good option to start with.
You mentioned that it can be a little bit expensive, but we had a different experience with a client in that they chose the M plan after going through all the differences between the M's and the E's, and they went from starting off with 10 staff and whatnot, and then they went to 35 or 40 staff pretty quickly, and they were stuck using the M plan at $16.50 for every single user. You can't mix and match on the M plans, which is
That's
if
correct.
you're on the E plan. They could have chosen those 10 users to stay on the big one, and the rest could have just had Exchange accounts, which is all they needed.
And that's the advantage with the enterprise plan, is that you can, for example, get users who have just got hosted Exchange for $7. You can have 2 or 3 users with the full complement. So E allows you to mix and match. That's why I always prefer it as an option. It's more flexible. But again, it's important to understand the differences and communicate that to the customer and make sure they understand the limitations of some of those. But I certainly, again, would recommend that the E plan's the way to go. But there's less impact now that you can upgrade. So in that case, Nigel, they could have upgraded to an E plan and then mixed and matched if they wanted to. So when that's available, that'll be really good.
Yeah,
okay, so hang on, we've got a couple of questions here. So you cannot mix Exchange only with M. That is correct. M plans are their own silo. The only Exchange Online plan you can mix with other enterprise suites is the E plan. So all standalone plans are enterprise plans and can be mixed with other enterprise plans, but not with Ps or Ms.
With Ms or Ps.
Correct. Again, if you want to get Office, you are correct that it does make it expensive. It comes up to $33, but what you need to appreciate is obviously that's giving you the premium version of Exchange, that's giving you the premium version of SharePoint. You get Power BI, you get Yammer. So any new advances you automatically get access to. So I think the pricing's fair considering the features. I would suggest that in a lot of cases the customers need to take advantage of their features. And that's something that resellers probably need to drive them into. So sure, but they are the options that it's broken up to around the world. All right, so Mark reckons he's got some changes. We did speak about the portal update, Mark, but let me see if I can take you off mute. So try it now.
Bonjour.
Hey guys.
How you going?
Hey, Mark.
Hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so sorry I was late. I've missed a bit, and I might be repeating things here, but I got some feedback from Microsoft that a couple of things. One was that we should be able to, one of the questions I had was adding new customers via the MS portal rather than forcing them to have to sign up themselves and then you add the partner of record or doing it for them. And it looks like from the new changes from the partner admin center that we will be able to do that. So you'll be able to create offers, trial or new sale offers for customers from the admin center.
Yep, which is like what they have everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I was pointed to that when I asked that question about what will happen here. And the other one was that the Intune and Office 365 integration is a problem with syndication.
Yep.
And that's worldwide. But the understanding of the guy I spoke with was that it's through the other channels it won't be a problem.
Yeah, I think.
So that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Portal and things,
Yeah, so my understanding is Intune in Australia is a little bit different no matter what thing, and they are fixing that. So again, it's just a matter of keeping an eye on that. But does anybody see Windows Intune as being an option, really? Being MSP style people, is there any benefit there?
If your business model was not around, ConnectWise and doing standard MSP, and you were looking just for that as a side part to your cloud business, then potentially, yeah, I think it's not a bad little product. It's quite powerful, but it is very Microsoft centric, so it doesn't allow for updating and monitoring of other things. But
the way I see it is it's ideal for internal enterprise that have their own internal IT. I think that's where its best fit is at the moment, until they make it multi-tenant and, as you say, Mark, able to plug into other systems and monitor other systems.
It can push out.
Look, it's not a huge thing. But yeah.
It certainly can push out other software. It can push out Adobe. It can push out. You can upload your own software into there, and it can push them out. I don't know if it can update it. It won't warn you of it, but it certainly is a software distribution option.
I think the main part that's missing is the monitoring and maintenance of those.
And the other thing too is my understanding is the big thing is you can't put on servers at this point in time. It's only desktop.
True. Yeah.
That's another big, and that is changing because.
Well, I think from my perspective, I think that there's a market there for the businesses that aren't going to have servers. They're just going to have cloud services, and they don't have any sort of administration of security and software and things like that. And this might be a good tool for helping them
True.
manage those things when they're not, they don't have a domain, and they're not managing, software and
I
security.
think it's interesting. I think it's still a bit expensive, isn't it? Windows Intune's still a bit in.
Does it still come with Windows?
Yeah, I think you've got the option to break it out. So you've got two different subscription options now. I think you can get it with and without a Windows license from memory. And they're the two different models. They did break it out. Let's see what it comes up with. I think it was, with Windows it was like $10, and then without Windows it was like $3. Let's have a look. Yeah, so yeah, there's two models here. See, Windows Intune by itself and Windows Intune with software assurance. So the one with software assurance includes...
I'm make a comment there that
Sorry, go on.
Let's make a quick side comment that Microsoft is certainly doing well with reducing the complexity of getting around their website lately.
Yeah.
As you can see there, you're able to get to the information in 5 seconds, not in 10 minutes like it used to be.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the difference. You get, basically you can go to the license with software assurance, which gives you the enterprise version of Windows. Otherwise, you can pull that out, and yeah, US dollars. So it's $6.10 versus
That includes your antivirus.
11. No, $6.10 is without the Windows, and it's $11.10 with Windows.
Yep, but
Yeah,
it
that is
includes
still
your
expensive,
antivirus,
isn't it?
So
It is expensive.
PC
It is
endpoint
expensive.
protection, yeah.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
expensive.
PC endpoint protection, that's Security Essentials.
Yeah, that's the
I
new.
thought they
Yeah.
were dumping, so I'm not sure what's going on.
No, there's a corporate version of it. It's Forefront. It's called Forefront. It's the
The Forefront stuff.
it's the Forefront
Yeah,
client.
I've got it running on my
Yeah.
laptop.
So the Security Essential stuff they're deprecating, but they're moving it all to a Forefront, integrated security or something, I think they call it. So yeah, that's what this is. That's certainly an enterprise product, that's for sure. So that's the difference. So $11.10 versus $6.10 now. It would be nice if this was in the Office 365 panel and you could pick that for users and stuff, but I don't know. Still a little bit expensive, for what it does, I believe. I think it'll improve, certainly, but still needs some way to go, I think. Okay, any other
I agree.
comments? And there is a reseller model. Obviously, if you sell it, you do get a commission, and there's the same sort of Office 365 model for that. You put your partner of record in, and you get a monthly commission directly from Microsoft. So Intune is direct from Microsoft. It's not via the T Suite offering, so it'll only be available through the Microsoft portal when that becomes available. Okay, anything else that you want to cover?
What sort of upcoming training is coming up at the moment, Rob? Might be worth running through a couple of
Well, what we've got
few
is
big training events on their way.
Yeah, we've got the where is it? We've got the ED one, or the Dicker Data one as it now is, the Express Data and
Yes, we've got that one.
Microsoft roadshows. That's a breakfast. I think the day after these in other capital cities, there is Ignite training, so Ignite Office 365 training. The difference is that Ignite training is given by the Australian guys. In April, the Office 365 Ignite session actually being conducted by the guys from the US. Let me just see if I can find that link somewhere. And basically that's certainly going to be worth attending because it will be very, very high level. We'll also look at many of the new features that are going to roll out the next sort of wave, or whatever you want to call it, the next sort of round of updates that are going into Office 365. So we have to do a search here again.
Are they sticking with it on a wave type release, or is now going down into incremental releases?
I think they're doing incremental until you get another, a 2014, 2015 version of the product. But my understanding is
they're
they're
still going to continue with those sort of.
Well,
then.
no, I think what it is what's going to happen is, my reading of it is apparently the on-prem stuff and the cloud-based stuff are now starting to diverge into two different products. Because the one in the cloud obviously is being updated so regularly. So they're now looking at breaking them away from being tied to the computer's overloaded. Would you like to hide all webcams and stop you? Okay, I'll push yes.
Need more power.
Yeah, I've got too many windows open. That's a problem. So here's the Ignite sessions in Sydney. They're on April 29th through to May 1st, so the end of May. Certainly worth going to, because the major advantage with these is that they're being conducted by the guys coming out from Microsoft in the US. So there'll certainly be deep dive. There'll certainly be very detailed in what they cover. So some of the Ignite sessions in Australia that have been given by the Australian equivalents, I don't think have had that same sort of content quality. But this one, I believe, will certainly be worth attending. It'll be in Hilton in April, so I'm certainly signed up to go, and would recommend everybody else just appreciate that it will certainly be a deep dive session. It certainly will go into quite a lot of detail in Office 365, hybrid configurations, so it's not aimed at SMB style people. It's really aimed at the enterprise guys who are typically doing high-end hybrid exchange.
Sounds good.
There should be some good muffins there at the Hilton, I would say.
There's a good bar upstairs for the end of it too.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Exactly. Okay, so no other questions? Anything else grab your fancy? Anything else that we need to cover? What I might do is maybe I save some memory by closing my PowerPoint down. I think we've basically covered all that sort of stuff. I can't see anything else that's burning. Mark, anything else that you see that's worthwhile? Mark's been off and getting distracted.
Yeah, nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's nothing much, we've done half an hour. Certainly by all means, send us some questions. And I shouldn't have closed that PowerPoint down because they had all our details on it. But if you obviously visit cloudbusinessblueprint.com and you send us any information or any questions you've got at info@cloudbusinessblueprint.com, we'll organise another one next week, and we'll put that up on the same URL. So again, if you don't know, it'll be ask-weekly-webinar, and just sign up and you'll get all the details. Again, if you've got any questions beforehand, let us know. But if there's nothing else that we need to cover, what I'll do is I'll stop the recording.